People don't know this, but I was in control of Jason during our games.
The problem with both aesthetics and performances is at a certain point, like age or whatever, it's gonna start to decline, and like, where's your mental state? The only thing that I can think of that's more like potentially getting people to take things personally than fitness and nutrition is parenting. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Street Parking Podcast. I am here today with a special guest, my longtime friend and associate, Patrick Barber. You may recognize Pat from back when we were competing on a team in 2015, a decade ago.
1 decade.
With NorCal CrossFit, or if you've been around CrossFit for as long as I have, or even before me, he was there before I was, still works for CrossFit. He is like holding on, you know. And warm up and workout. He's got the Father's Guild. We were already deep into conversation, so you're gonna jump right into the middle of the conversation. But we hope you enjoy this episode, and super grateful to Pat for coming out.
Woo woo. Yeah, I find it really funny when I'll post something and I'll have someone comment in my thing, like on one of my posts, just about who I am and what I do based off of a minute-long video.
They know everything about you.
Everything. And the fascinating part is, like, they could go one video up or one video down. It would completely contradict anything they're saying in this post.
Totally.
But I'm like...
Or they could even just go thoroughly read a caption.
Or a caption. That's the really fascinating one for me, is like, you didn't even read the caption. You literally...
Or watch the video in its entirety.
Dude, you just spout it off.
Well, I think what happens is, like, people hear one thing that's like, I don't want to use the word triggering, but like sparks something in them. And
it's commonly called being triggered.
Yeah, and they can't hear the rest of it or like add in any sort of context. And I think what I get a lot of times is like, so you're telling me that I should, like if you're like telling a story about something that you did, so why are you're telling me that I should do that? And it's like, but I was just saying what I did.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and it's a weird one, man. I think when someone is that inflamed by, or they comment on something, I've always found it as it's more of a reflection of who they are than who I am.
Or like a fear that they have.
A fear that they have, or like a perception of their own insecurities, like that it has nothing to do with me. I don't, like, people even on my stuff, they'll be like, how dare you judge me? And I'm like,
Yeah. You're like, I don't even know you.
I don't even know you.
I've gotten that before, like with parenting stuff, like where I've like talked about, you know, how we feed our kids, and like, you're judging us for taking our kids to McDonald's, and I'm like, what?
You're like, no, you feel judged because you take your kids to McDonald's and you don't, and you know it's not probably the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Unless it's just like an occasional treat, and then I'm putting this thing out that's not even related to that, other than the fact that we're both talking about food. And you've somehow flipped this on its head.
That I'm like looking at you in your face and saying you're a bad parent.
Yeah, but here's my favorite part is, like, even if someone looks me in the face and goes, you're a bad parent, it's like, that is your right to think that. It has no bearing on me.
Yeah, I mean, don't you think that's like the social media thing is like, at some point we felt like everybody needs to agree with us about everything. And if they don't, then they're like... I mean, I'm not saying I feel like that, but like in general, like culture says like, well, if you don't agree with me, you hate me, or you think I'm a bad person, or you...
Even that's the case. Like I'll accept judgment. You want to go on my Instagram and tell me I'm terrible? I'm like, that doesn't bother me.
You're so much better about that than I am.
But I think that's fundamentally, I'm different in my perception of self. And I think that's been a difference in you and I for a long time. I also never had the same success as you, so I can understand getting wrapped in it. But it was like, if someone wants to come on and bash me on my social, that's fine. Like,
you know what it is for me? It's not like, I think I'm okay with people not liking me. What I don't like is, what is unsettling, I should say, for me, is when people, if I share my story, that they perceive that for some reason I don't like them, or that I think that they should change, or that I think that I'm like mean or rude or something because like of whatever. I don't like that put on me because of like what I'm doing in my life. That makes sense.
That makes sense. Yeah. And I think that the people view things differently. I think a lot of people put stock in what other people think. So if someone thinks something different than them, that's why they go, okay, well, we obviously can't be friends because you think that. And I'm like, I don't think any differently of you as a person because you think something differently than me.
Right. You're like, I don't care if you take your kids to McDonald's, like it's whatever. Like I don't take, well then you must think that what I'm doing is wrong. And it's like,
I was like, no, I mean, even if I do think that what you're doing is wrong, it doesn't matter.
I still like you.
I still like you. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And like that's something my wife sometimes has a hard time with because like I have really strong stances. You've known this for a long time. Yeah. But I don't, and I'll argue something, but I don't carry that. Like I don't sit there and dwell on it. So like if someone wants to go back and forth about an idea, whether it be training or parenting or blah, 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 I'll go toe to toe and I'll present my side to it and I'll like ask the questions and I'll combat it. And it used to be just straight raw combat, but nowadays it's a lot more of a conversation. But then I don't think about it ever again. I don't carry it. For me, that's what I'm saying. So for me, like I'll walk away from the conversation and be like, cool. Like,
yeah.
Whereas my wife doesn't understand that at all. Like she's like, you fought so hard for that, but then you were like kind to him right afterwards. I'm like, well, yeah. I mean, we were just having a conversation about that. It has no bearing on how I feel about them. I mean, you're like, but they do the thing. I'm like, yeah, but that's fine. Like,
right.
Like I wouldn't do the thing, but I'm not them. So you do you.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know what that is, what that's about, but it leads me to be a lot happier with myself and the world because I don't have to worry about other people in that way.
Yeah.
And what I've had to learn.
And like if people are wrong, do you still, because I feel like you've gotten it, like if you feel like someone's wrong about something, like something that there is a right or wrong in your mind.
Sure.
Because not everything has a right or wrong, right?
Sure.
Do you feel, because I feel like maybe in the past you would have felt compelled to change their mind or tried.
Yes.
How is that for you now?
Way different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I think my favorite thing now.
Or like if somebody's wrong about you, do you feel compelled to try to change their mind?
So if they're wrong about me, that is one thing. I don't like being misunderstood.
I hate that. And I think that's what I was trying to say. Like,
yeah.
If people like, like we were just talking about, I don't know if we were recording yet or not, we'll like take a 1-minute clip and completely misunderstand you as an entire person and your like who you are and like where your heart is, your beliefs or whatever. And like, that really gets me.
And I get that. But I think that when we're in a social space, we have to understand that all we can do is laugh. Because if I'm toe to toe with you and we're chatting and I say something and we keep going and you don't understand me, like I'll be like, wait, what was that? And we'll have to unpack it. But in a social space, I think that's just the nature of the beast. Like if I post something and someone doesn't understand it, of course they didn't understand it. They have no context for it outside. And I'll do my best to frame it in a way that it can be understood. But that's the nature of social. So that doesn't really bother me the same way as like, if we're talking and I say something and you don't understand it and then you attack me based off of your misunderstanding, I'm going to go, whoa, like, let's go back to the part that
like,
we had.
Got what I was trying to say.
Exactly. And I used to get inflamed by that. Totally. So there'd be like a battle. That's no longer the case for me. It's like, if you don't want to understand it, if we're not going to go there, it's like, okay. I don't need to change your mind. Like that's, like the common one that I have conversations with that bothers people sometimes, but is the bodybuilding conversation. Because like I'll ask this at seminars all the time because I find it to be such a fascinating conversation because I haven't had someone do a good talk me off that ledge of like, I'll say like, what is the value in the pursuit of aesthetics? Like just training to look good. And you get all the superficial things like look good, feel good or blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, and you combat those with like, well, you can feel good if you look good, but just because you look good doesn't mean you feel good. And there's like a deeper underlying thing of like, it's not the way you look, it's how you feel about how you look. That's the conversation. And I love having this conversation with people because people don't think deep enough about it to me. But it really touches on some interesting places and I get into some battles where people would just like put their foot down and it's like, no. Like, I'm going to train to lose weight. I'm going to train to look good and feel good. And that's why I do it. And it's important. And if that's what you really believe, after we've had a 30-minute conversation about other values in training, that's fine.
I see like bodybuilding stuff as a potential gateway drug, though, to get people into more performance or health marker measures. And I guess that's because like that was my introduction to fitness. Like I know you've shared like so many times in different places that you never had even stepped foot into a traditional gym before.
Yeah.
I mean, have you yet?
Yeah,
Or went into like a Gold's Gym or something like that yet?
Yes.
But like you came up through sports and through like other stuff where like I came into fitness through bodybuilding.
Right.
And so it was like, I think it can be like a gateway and you hope that eventually it becomes more.
But how many years before you were okay with your body?
What do you mean by that?
Like, so you start bodybuilding and it was to change your body.
Yeah, and then I grew to enjoy exercising just for exercise's sake.
Right, but then when you go and look in the mirror, because the outcome of what your exercise's purpose was to change your physique. So every day you look in the mirror and you go, it's working or it's not. And everything, who I am and what I do is based off of that reflection.
I mean, I even got into performance that way. So when I was in high school, I was a junior in high school, and one of the senior girls that was on my cheerleading team had a six-pack.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I want that. Like, that's amazing. And so I was like, what do I got to do? She's like, join the track team. I was like, done.
Yeah.
And so even my motivation to like go join the track team was aesthetics. And so.
Right. But where does that end? Because that only ends negatively.
So for me, it ended, I would say, it would not even through. Okay, I did do a fitness competition like on stage. It wasn't bodybuilding. The category was called fitness. So I did like a whole routine and stuff like back handsprings and all that stuff. But then there was the like bikinis standing on stage, that whole thing. And I didn't love that because that was where my mind started like turning of like, I think it's weird that you win this competition based off of people looking at you and as opposed to, and so that's why I chose fitness over figure was like, at least there's like the dance routine and there's like points for like doing cool stuff.
Sure.
So that kind of started to turn. And then when I found CrossFit, it was like, well, this makes even more sense because there's a performance element, and the chicks are also super, like it was Nicole and Annie and Ava. So it was like, well, this is kind of like blending it. Sure. And I would say that maintained until, quite honestly, probably my car accident.
Right.
Where it was like, oh man, like the muscle mass actually saved my life, you know, or like prevented me from being paralyzed. And it's like, everybody needs this. Like, this is so much more important than what I see when I look in the mirror. That was a big switch for me.
But let's listen to that story. You had to have...
But not I had to almost die.
You had to break your neck in a car accident to knock your brain out of being like, the reason I do this is to get these abs. Mm-hmm. That was 20 years because everything in your head was around that, you know, like, and that's what fitness was.
Well, and that's like even, do you feel like as coaches we've both been doing this for like very long time at this point, like that's the constant battle.
But I think that the battle is in, because it's all deeper, because you can do the same level of I think you could have the same level of psychosis around performance of like, I need to be better. Like, but at least at the end of performance, you're a pretty capable human unless you break yourself.
I would say the problem with both aesthetics and performances at a certain point, like age or whatever, it's going to start to decline. And like, where's your mental state when that starts happening?
But even if you start to decline with performance, you at least have this place that you're so elevated in your capacity that you have years of doing nothing if you wanted to,
right? And
you still walk around as a functional human.
But mental health, if it starts like messing you,
for sure,
because you're like, I can't deadlift what I used to do, or my mile time's slower, and now you're like, your self-worth is tied up in either your aesthetics or your performance, I think.
But that was your deeper problem. So your deeper problem is you're tying your who you are in either what you look like or what you're capable of. But I still think that even if who you are and what you're capable of, if it's tied into that, you still end up in a better place. Just because
then who you are and the way you look.
Yes, because
I agree with you.
Because who you are and the way you look, you're never ever going to be satisfied, and there's no value outside of the look. Like it's a one-dimensional.
I agree with you.
But that's my biggest argument, because there's dysfunction in both of it. Mm-hmm. But what I would say though is like with the what we train, you're right. That is one of the things we battle of, like, people come and they're like, I want to get a six-pack, and you go, great. But you can't be like, no, that's just a stupid idea. Right. Like, stop valuing that.
Like, whatever you come with that's going to motivate you to start moving.
Great.
Awesome.
You say, awesome. What do you deadlift? And they're like, I don't know what I deadlift. I'm going to get you a heavy deadlift. But we'll talk about the six-pack thing. I absolutely help you with that. So I think that what good coaches do and what good programs do is they constantly revisit back to, like, why are we doing this? Mm-hmm. And they do it subtly, and they do it in a way where they live it. But I think that that's the hard thing for me is there's a lot of online fitness coaches and a lot of stuff where it's like, yeah, guys, check it out. Like, do my program, blah, blah, blah. And you can get blah, blah, blah. But even your guys' stuff where it's like the butts and guts program, I'm like, that's shallow. It's shallow and it's kind of meaningless. It's like, it's playing to someone's psychosis around this is going to give me spot reduction or spot change, which is not true in either of those.
No.
Like,
so the interesting thing is because like what is butts and guts really? It's posterior chain and core training and that's like really what it is. It's like for something to do as a finisher, whatever, because we're never going to put that into the daily because we don't want people to feel like they have to do it, but there can be value in doing some extra plank holds and this and that.
But even that could be argued. There's not value in
for sure, but it also could be like, hey, I just like doing that stuff, which I think is totally fine.
That's totally fine, but that's not.
But if we called it core and posterior chain strengthening, all of a sudden people are like, well, I want to, So yeah, we catered to people that are like, what do I do to work on my butt?
Exactly. But I think
as a potential gateway drug to get them into doing the other stuff.
Absolutely. But then how does someone who understands it take you seriously when they see you say, we're about function and you have a butts and guts program? So I think that's where like even some of the messaging within in this own space, because you have to play the game. And we've talked about this. You have to play the game. You have to do the thing. But then where is the line drawn? And where do we go, okay, well, this is butts and guts. And then right down below it, it's like as a little asterisk disclaimer being like, butts and guts are shaped by the diet that we eat and genetics.
But this workout's fun.
But this workout's super fun and it's fun.
Here's some lunges and some plank holds.
But genuinely, I think that would be a more truthful statement and actually probably a good one to say. Like, I don't know. I don't think there's a perfect answer.
And that's where it's like hard to, even going back to like how this whole conversation started, like when you're limited by social media and that's how we like interact with people, or limited by like how much of the instructions on the app are they actually even going to look at and read, or all that stuff. It's tough because like in person, that kind of education is a lot easier. I don't know if easier is the right word for it, but like you can be more thorough with people, I guess, and answer their questions and get like, what are you actually looking for? And so, yeah, it's playing the game or like trying to figure out the best way to communicate where people can actually understand the value of different things.
That's why
on the screen.
It's so hard. And the fact that you guys have as big a community as you do and the number of coaches that you do that can actually speak to these things, that's huge. Because I think that in reality, the best way to do that would be in person. To have someone walking into the gym through the doors and do that.
And then they say, I want a bigger butt. And you're like, cool. Well, let's go again. Like, what's your deadlift?
Yeah, what's your deadlift? What do you...
why? And there's your booty and core strength right there.
Exactly. And
yeah. And then the next scroll that they do is like this chick being like, oh my gosh, you want to grow your butt? Like do this weird bandy band.
Eat this berry. And you're like, eat this berry? The heck are you talking about?
I missed that advertisement.
Oh my gosh, so many that are just so bad. But I do think that there's an opportunity to be the example. And I think that that's where in a social space, you actually can make a difference is you're consistent with the same message and you are the example of like what it means to use fitness to support the rest of your life. And I think that just takes a lot of communication and more effort than should be required because it's not nearly as, for lack of a better term, sexy. Like to be like you're just out here doing mediocre fitness over and over again. Over and over again. Finding a reason to do it outside of just like, I'm looking to be smoking hot for the opposite sex. I think there is a certain level of confidence that is built through feeling good about the way you look. So I'm not discounting any of that. But I do think that there is an opportunity for people like us who have platforms to speak to the reality of why, like what is important in training. And I don't think that there's that many people doing that because it doesn't sell. But you're uniquely suited in this like environment of you've got thousands of people who pay attention already. Might as well subtly start to change their mind. And maybe it doesn't come through me being like butts and guts is dumb, like, but it comes through that continued conversation. I don't know. I think about it a lot because I see, because you see it too. Like when you see people come in that's the classic CrossFit story. Someone walks into a CrossFit gym, they're like, I want to look good.
I saw this person, so I want to do that.
I want to look good naked. And they come in like as just these meek little things, and all of a sudden they ditch that idea of what was important to them, and they start to focus on what they're able to do. And then you watch how they carry themselves and how they hold their head. And maybe there's still some lingering stuff around, physical differences and what they look like versus others, but they're like, no, I don't want to be skinny. I want to be strong, or I want to blah, blah, blah. And you can make that a dysfunction as well. But at the same time, I just think that those changes can happen in an environment where everyone's pursuing different things. But there's a lot of CrossFit gyms these days that promote just like constant before and after photos and blah, 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 and extreme diet challenges. And then you're like, bleh. You're like, what are we doing?
Do you feel like you had a choice on whether or not you were going to participate in CrossFit? Wasn't it part of your school?
I had
Tell people that origin story.
So,
because mine, I just kind of shared a little snippet of mine, but.
By the way, my name is Pat. It's nice to meet
Pat.
you.
He's my brother. Just kidding.
Yeah. So I started CrossFit in 2004, my senior year of high school. My old English teacher was Tony Budding, the first media director of CrossFit, and my Nicole Carroll was my pottery teacher in middle school, and she's still the head of creative. What is she?
I don't know what she's the head of now.
Yeah.
I know she's still there though.
She was director of training. I think it's culture now.
Oh.
And so she was dating Tony at the time, and they found CrossFit, and they brought it to the high school volleyball team. And the way that actually happened was Tony put into probably Ask Jeeves at the time, which is the old thing, and he popped it in there, and he was like, how to clean and jerk Santa Cruz, and popped it in there, and it popped up, and it was like CrossFit Santa Cruz, which was the original gym. And he went in and he was like, I'd like to learn how to clean and jerk. And they were like, we do CrossFit. And he's like, I just want to learn how to clean and jerk.
Just this.
So I believe Jason Highbarger took him through some clean and jerks. He's like, fine, I'll teach you. And took him through it. And Tony was watching like what was going down in the background. And he's like, what's this? And they're like, this is CrossFit and blah, blah, blah. And he got to knowing it and doing it. And he's like, this is rad. Let's bring it up to the boys at high school. So brought it up to the high school. And we were just a bunch of like volleyball player kids living in the middle of the mountains doing random stuff. I think the first workout we did was, and he tried to make us do the Inman mile, where you throw your body weight on your back on a barbell and walk in a mile.
So you had like 85 pounds?
Yeah, like 85. It was $1.45. Thank you very much. It was before I was a man. But no, that was our first workout, and it was super fun. And I never saw it as training. I just saw it as like a way to beat my friends at fitness. And I would like lie and cheat and do half reps. And oh God, yeah. Like not always, but there was times where I'd be like, how many reps are we doing? Probably 8, like for sure. And then I got slapped around a few times by
That's good. I mean, I would assume like probably a lot of high school kids would go that
of course
with it.
Of course. And like you just have some ego there. But what's interesting is like,
you were, you needed like a Hiller character back then. Like you were skirting the line before skirting the line was even cool.
100%.
You invented skirting the line.
I invented, there's a clause in the CrossFit Games, which is known as the Pat Barber clause, but it's now called the unusual movement clause.
Oh, I know.
So
one of my first unusual movement interactions with you was at the Trainer Summit in Colorado.
Yeah.
Do you remember we were going to
partner handstand push-ups?
Squat? Yes, that same workout. I think, or it was at least at the same place. And the workout had squat cleans in it, and you went toe to toe with, I can't remember who you were arguing with, probably like a group of people, about how you didn't need to hit extension on the way up, like on the third, or like on the second pull of the clean, like as long as it starts on the ground and I end in a squat, and then I stand up, and it was like this, and it was a trainer summit. And they were like, bro, just do a proper clean.
Yeah, well,
and you're like, but that's not the standard.
It wasn't. So they set the standards ahead of time. Like this is a real thing. So it was Russell Berger and
my gosh, I remember
John.
being like,
yeah. Well, so like they I got pretty mad because they started no-repping me during the workout. And I was like, why are you no-repping me? I'm hitting the standard. They're like, but that's an ugly clean. And I'm like, I know it's an ugly clean, but I'm hitting the standard. And I would just pull it off the ground, pop it on my shoulder, and stand up with it as long as I pass through the bottom of the squat. They're like, you need to hit extension. I'm like, no, I don't.
It's a point of performance. It's not a
movement standard.
Do you think that people know the difference between those two things?
I made a video on it the other day, and I posted
They
it.
don't.
I know. I like on my coach's call. Like, and one is about, so a point of performance is about quality of movement, and a standard is about a range of motion, essentially. And when you're setting movement
Like
standards,
a rule. A standard is a rule, and a point of performance is a efficiency, proper technique thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think the reality is there's a mixing of those in certain places, and some fall on both sides, and some are arbitrary. Like some movement standards are totally made up, like just
It's
for the
just
sake
made
of it.
judging easier or whatever.
Yep. But a lot of them are there to create an impact from the movement or drive stimulus. And that was one that I was like, look,
Oh my gosh, I'll never forget. I can like literally picture where I was standing in the parking lot of the like state patrol place where we were at, and I was just like, this is insane.
yeah. And I'm like 20 years old. Like,
Yeah, it was like what, maybe
having-
like 2009?
yeah, going toe to toe. And it was Lisa Ray too, where I'm just like being like, no, screw you. Like I think I said that to her. Like,
Yeah.
it was bad. I apologized right afterwards. I think what's interesting is I've been in this company so long and CrossFit so long that a lot of those old school characters, like Nicole, for instance, I think she still sees me as an 18-year-old boy, which I'm very much not anymore.
You're 25 now.
I grew this beard out so you could tell. No, it's really interesting to deal with some of those characters. A lot have seen my evolution and have recognized that. But like Todd Woodman, for instance, like he sees me as a man, and like these a lot of people do, but I still think some of them, like some of the interactions I have, I'm like, you're treating me like I'm 18. Like I'm not 18 anymore. You can talk to me differently. But it's weird to grow up in something like this, because you see its evolution, and you also see the deviations that have gone off on these tangents. And like, I think you've spoke to this across your social media of how the core of it has never changed. You know, like the effect of what we're trying to do with CrossFit on a fundamental level has never changed. It's about living a higher quality of life. And the basic program with very simple, big movements like fitness 100 word style is supremely effective. Like compared to all of the other bells and whistles that exist out there, the other stuff's just fluff. And like, that's what the beauty, like, that's why I came and was like, hey, Miranda, I signed up using a separate email address. So you didn't even know who it was.
Because you know me, I check every single person that
I had no idea. I just like
see all that stuff. I don't see it.
Well, I had no idea. So I signed up with a separate email address. I just wanted to use it just like to see where it was at. I didn't want to like get any special treatment or anything like this. And so I was just using it. And I was like, this is really good. Like, cause
Gosh, dang it.
that's what I did. I was like, damn it. Like, this is really good. Cause I've done like every program.
Yeah.
And so when I came, I was like, damn, it's just simple and it's good. And Miranda was always good at programming, from the NC Lab days to everything else. Like, by the way, I had a few people reach out to me about the old NC Lab time.
You guys bring it back.
They're like, bring it back. I've still got my old stuff. Yeah. No. I was like, look, if we brought that back, none of us could do it. Like, all of the stuff we were doing was so hardcore.
I was thinking what would have been funny while you were here was us, just like, honestly, like a spoof reel video is me and you attempting to do one of the old like regional workouts.
Dude.
How ridiculous that would be.
Bro, I tried to deadlift 225 in a workout the other day and was like, and seized up halfway through and was like, oh, like, it was the other day that there was the heavy deadlifts in one of the street parking workouts. Anyway.
Okay, so you got involved because of high school with Nicole and Tony.
Yep.
And then when I met you, it was 4 years later. I met you in 2008.
At
my
year level 1
in San Diego. CrossFit San Diego.
With Jason Cleveland.
Filippo was also there.
He was indeed.
And isn't that crazy? And you actually helped me get my very first muscle up. I got my very first muscle up at that seminar.
Hear that? She's saying it now. Denied this for years.
So that's how long we've known each other. So what was that, 17 years ago?
Is that 17 years ago?
17 years.
Ooh-wee. Yeah,
That's how long
17
we've known
years.
each other. And Jason. Yeah, is that the first time you ever met Jason, or had you met
Never heard
Jason
him.
before that?
I had not met Jason before that. I had actually, no, I did. I met Jason just before that. There was a level 1 at CrossFit One World, and Austin McGeebing was like, hey, I've got this dude who's been training with me.
They were like
They were super, Austin was his coach, and he's like, he's been training with me. Can he come do the workout at lunch together with us?
Okay.
And we were like, yeah, sure, whatever. So he did some like ring dip workout.
Barreled in. And,
Barreled in. Oh my God, so cool. I'm like, dude, this meathead. And he was fine. Like there was nothing special about him. But then when he did the workout, when he did Fran at the level 1, I was like, because Jason was kind of like doughy and soft, and when he first started,
Yeah.
but he just had this engine, and you're like, what?
That actually didn't make sense given his physique.
Given his physique, given his like
Yes.
how he even articulated words, he was even more scattered then than he is now, which is hard to believe. And so like there was you didn't see anything there that potentially
He did some sort of like rowing thing there, and people were just like, "Oh my gosh!" Like whatever he was playing on the rower.
He hopped on the rower, and you were just like, "What is going on?" And he didn't quite make sense as a human. And so after, he did that. That was the same level 1. And then he went on to win.
Yeah, I remember at that level 1. I did because I think that was one of my first, maybe my second Fran. I think I had done Fran one other time, like alone in the Globo gym. But I did Fran in 4 minutes and 58 seconds. And I remember it was a really big deal that a female had done it under 5 minutes back then.
Gosh, I remember you being jacked. That's what I remember. You were one of the first jacked females like that I had seen, like, because there was Nicole and when I say jacked, I mean you had very pronounced abs. Like that was the physical feature that I like looked over and I was like, what the.
Before it was just that everyone had them.
Before it was that everyone had them. And you were one of the first. And like, because I mean, Eva T was there and Nicole was there and Annie were there, but they weren't like as lean as you were. And I know you were coming.
I came from bodybuilding.
From bodybuilding, exactly. It was. But I mean, that was the pursuit of what you were trying to do. Like you were half starved and
so like
doing your whole thing. But I mean, that was the truth. And it was like you came in and. Yeah, I don't remember your Fran, but that's awesome.
I just remember they're like, oh my gosh, she did it under 5 minutes, and she did all the kipping pull-ups, and because back then, like, most people were not doing like proper kipping pull, like it was like they were still alert, like everybody was still doing that, and the movement was crazy at those things. I mean, probably still is.
Well, I remember you too, because like it was you and Tyson, and Tyson is like the nicest human being alive, and I was like, what is this couple? Like who.
I printed out every single CrossFit journal up to that point, and I put them in binders.
Of course you did.
And I brought them in a suitcase with us to San Diego. I had every single CrossFit journal printed and in a 3-hole punch binder.
But you were also clearly insecure. Like I'm serious. Like you could see it in how you acted with the world. Like you wouldn't look someone in the eye. Like you wouldn't like you
have shifty eyes.
You super shifty eyes.
Do I still have shifty eyes?
No, not as much. Not dearly. I mean, you're staring me in the eye right now and you're winning. Yeah, eye gazing. I just remember being like, even being that young, I was like, she thinks of herself differently than the world sees her. And I could see that in you. And it was like, that's interesting. Like, that's a very fascinating.
We've talked about that a few times in the last few weeks and like last night.
Yeah. And it was, and then I saw you again at the games that year. You guys came to the games.
I'm
that rip girl.
Yeah.
And we competed at the games that year. And when did you start? Like, when did we start like seeing more of you?
So 2008, we did our level 1. I think it was in like March or April. And then we came to the games, and like a week or 2 weeks after the games, we drove. So we lived in Salt Lake at the time. We drove to the games in Aromas, drove home. And I think like a week or 2 weeks later, we drove back for the level 2, which is like now the like level 4 or whatever.
Yeah.
We drove back.
Yeah.
I did that. And then at that was like back in the day. I think
Did you pass that?
Yep. Me and Tyson.
That time you did?
Mm-hmm. Me and Tyson.
Right after level 1?
Yeah. Because I was reading the freaking binders. And I hadn't been a trainer for a while.
Right.
Because I had been working in fitness and stuff.
Was I there at that one?
No, it was Pat Sherwood, Nicole Carroll, and I want to say, who was the third? Maybe Andy Stump? Someone scary.
PC, maybe?
No, it was definitely another dude. But anyway, and I remember having to teach Kenny Castro, like the push press at my level. Like, I feel like Dave just went to Home Depot and like got some random people. And anyway, we were just coaching.
I mean, that still could be Kenny, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so it was me and Tyson and this girl named Rachel. I can't remember her last name. That were the only 3 people that passed.
Medina.
Yes. And I was going to say Moreno, but yes, you're right. And then they, said that we could come be on the level 1 staff. So my first internship with so that was in like August. My first internship with level 1, I want to say, was in like October of that same year.
Wow. That's impressive. Yeah.
And then I worked constantly after that.
Yeah. I remember, I don't know what the first gig we worked together was on. It was probably a bit down the road. I don't even know.
No, yeah. So then we worked on seminar staff. We moved to NorCal in 2011.
Well, I remember seeing videos of you up in competing in regionals. Like you were the first person I saw pee themselves during a regionals event.
Yeah, I'm the inventor of that.
That was good.
You had the uncommon movement clause. I brought peeing into
You
it.
brought peeing yourself.
So you're welcome.
Which was good.
Everyone.
Well, the first. Number 1, baby. Number
I'll
1.
always be the first. I popularized it.
I was like, man, I've never gone that hard. Like, that is impressive. Good job. Power to you.
I've had many embarrassing competing moments, but continue.
I bet those would compound on themselves too, because they would just sit in your head as like a thing that has happened.
How is she still allowing this to be filmed? Why doesn't she live in a cave somewhere?
Oh, shush. But I think, as you clearly understand, not a single one of those things defines you. So it's like it. How is she still letting herself? Funny, Miranda.
Just go in your shell. It's enough.
It's enough.
No, actually, going back to what you said about like, people perceive this because of my physical appearance. People perceive one thing. And, so I grew up doing like childhood acting.
Mm-hmm.
And I had this conversation with my kids the other night because we were reading this story, not to go all tradwife on everyone, but like this story from the Bible of like King Saul. And I had never really heard this detail about it. It was from one of the kids' books, but it was saying how he was shy. And then they made him the king and he was like, no, I'm shy or whatever. And he had to go be this king. And I paused in the story and I said, you know what? Like, I kind of resonate with that. And I said, because like, I think naturally one of our kids is a lot more shy than the others. And he's a lot more timid around people, Banner. And I said, I feel that's how I was as a little kid. But then one of my friends wanted to go do plays and stuff. So I went and did it with her. And I found out that I was really good at it. So I learned how to like stand on stage and be playing, but like who I actually naturally was, and I think am, is like a little bit way more quiet or reserved than what people expect because of what they've seen like on camera or at a seminar or whatever.
Right.
And so I think that can lead to me being commonly misunderstood or me feeling like weird about it.
Yeah. Well, I think where I was coming from with it, not in the first time I met you, that was purely just like that was purely a perception of the feel of it. That was like as hippie and woo as it gets. I'm like, your physique doesn't match how you carry yourself. And so one of those has to be a compensation, like it can't coexist in that.
Going back to the like, oh, if I have a certain aesthetic, I'm going to feel better. And it's like, no, you can actually walk around with really low self-esteem and look awesome.
Exactly. Yeah. And you can feel that dissonance and you can see it. Like if you're remotely
very common.
And you can see a lot of those things are compensations. Some people do it. Some people just have good genetics. That's one thing. But like when it's to that extreme where it's like, that's not just genetics, like that's genetics plus effort. But then you carry yourself in a certain way. There's this dissonance that if you're remotely perceptive, you're like, what is that? Mm-hmm. But I think what was interesting that you were saying is more about like the social thing and like the performance that was necessary for these platforms that you were on. So like you're one of the first to dive into social, I think, in a big way that I knew. And actually see success there and present a side to it. And then same thing with like the level 1 seminars. You couldn't be timid. You couldn't be something other than like, hey, like here's what we're doing this, we're blah, blah, blah. And you're on a team of performers that were just like, in terms of what they were asking from you. And so I think there was part of you that you cultivated into be like this true performer, whereas you're not you're not really that. Like you're not that performer. Like when and that was always the thing that when you and I, and we talked about this last night, but like when you and I would hang out and compete together, like when we hung out and did training, like I knew who you were. Like and I knew you carried insecurities, and we all have insecurities. That's not like a slight on you.
Right.
But then what you portrayed in your social spaces didn't fit that character to me, just because I knew you. And so it was always like that difference between like, what the heck are these two things? And I think that what you've come into congruence with that a lot with what your current social is and who you are and how you feel in those things. But again, it's still in these social snippets, you're never going to get the full picture.
Totally.
But have you ever heard of the concept of social capture?
No.
There's this idea that creators will fall into what's called social capture. Like they'll get famous for something, or they'll like people will perceive them a certain way, and if they do anything outside that way of being, then they lose followers and people don't like them.
Totally.
And so then
I think that happens to a lot of people.
Totally. So
or they get stuck in their role forever, and they're like,
this is not who I am anymore.
Yeah.
And then they don't know what to do because like that's their livelihood and that's what they are. And this idea of social capture is like people will do that and then try to live with that and then try to be that, but then it's so non-congruent with who they actually are that they end up miserable and everything implodes eventually.
Totally.
But I think what you've tried to do, which is, great in so many ways, but also I'm sure is challenging, is like you're putting more of you out there, like parts of you that are different than what you previously put out.
Long socks and bandanas?
Long socks, yeah. Long socks, bandanas, and rap videos.
There was a side like of me that's like really like my fun side or whatever. But yeah, it's like
you have seasons.
Such a like snippet of a much bigger personality.
Totally. Yeah. Totally. And I think it's even unrealistic for anyone on a social space when they like log in, they look at you to be like, that's the whole person. It's like, how? How are you going to encapsulate an entire person? Even if they're posting 5 times a day, that's a max of 7 minutes of time. There's the rest of the day. There's a time where they're sitting there doing nothing or fighting with their wife or whatever it might be, or husband. In your case, your wife. Who's your wife?
Molly.
Molly. Yes, that makes sense. I think Jen's gonna be pissed though. But it's like, yeah, I don't know. The space that we're in is so interesting because there's value in the social space. Like I think that it can be used as inspiration, but so much of it is just garbage.
Totally. I have a hard time with that. I mean, like, because I've been battling that a lot for years now. Salvi can attest to, like, because it comes up to me every, like, once in a while. Salvi's sitting in here with us, you guys. He's just listening. We're an online program, and our community essentially is, like, in our Facebook group or on Instagram, and that's how people, like, get to know each other. Use the hashtag street parking. You can find other street parking members and comment on their stuff and see and feel supported and this and that. But, like, also, I have like a love-hate relationship with social media, and I'm trying to be on it less, but it's like, how can I say that when I, like my whole business or like the community that we're trying to, it's a weird space for me right now.
Yeah, it is.
And you have that too, because you have the Fathers Guild and all that stuff where you're like, that's where your messaging is, but also put your phone down. It's weird.
It's very weird. But what I think is a reality is like, take your program, for instance. Like, I think it'd be really cool to have street parking analog, where at the beginning of the month, you could pay like an extra $5 and you get
the whole month
printed and sent to you as a book. And you go through it there where I'd never have to log on my phone. That'd be rad. Because when you get to a certain place of fitness, like you don't need all the connection and stuff. There are the connections.
And you don't necessarily need demo videos.
You don't need demo videos. You don't need all those other pieces. But those things are really beautiful. And that you have them is amazing because any level can log into this and get after it. It just is going to take more effort for someone who's like that. They're going to have to look at each one of the pieces and they're going to be like, okay, so this is what this looks like. This is what this looks like. Whereas I'm at a place in my
parking off grid parking.
Yeah. Well, I'm launching it. I just already registered the domain.
You come here to steal, all right?
Whatever. I started this. Thank you very much. Yeah. By the way, you're moving to Santa Cruz. I don't know if you knew that, but you're going to be moving to Santa Cruz and filming me full time.
So we're shutting down the app and you will each now get a PDF at the beginning of the month.
No, but I do genuinely think that there is a weird thing where like, in order to use a lot of the convenience of life right now, you have to be on a phone. But in order to truly experience life, you have to be off your phone. And I think a lot of us are coming to the realization that there needs to be a balance there. And whatever balance that is, striking it with your life and your family and yourself is that, I think that's the next generation of growth that a lot of us need to have. And some people are in the stage where like, I'm just going to be here all the time. It's like, cool. Eventually you're going to get over that because you're going to realize that that doesn't do much for you in terms of actually moving forward. But yeah, I feel you on that. I think like you're wanting to disconnect. I think luckily for you, you can have, if you were able to relinquish control, you can have people do those things for you, and still be present. So you can have him film your stuff and post your stuff and do your stuff if you wanted to.
So I can bake more sourdough.
Yeah, you can bake more sourdough
and like all that.
Yeah, exactly. She's making these jokes because we were discussing the term trad wife before this, and
I thought that meant like the 1950s like outfits and all that stuff.
And I was explaining podcast wise that there's a negative connotation to it as well, because it can be taken to an extreme, like anything, like any term can be taken to an extreme, and it can be like anti other stuff. So there are.
Because if you're pro something, there's an automatic, and this is like another social thing.
Yeah.
I love oranges, so what, you hate apples now?
Yeah.
And you're like, what? No, but I like, I didn't say anything about apples.
I like sourdough. You hate gluten-free people? No, not at all. Like, I love.
What about me? I like gluten.
I like gluten. My son died from sourdough. Okay, well,
you're happy
cool.
about that?
Like, gosh, man.
Yeah, isn't that funny though? Like the I like or I choose automatically is the you must hate this thing. That's a whole
nother one.
Again, which is another reason to just step away from the phones, everybody.
Yeah.
And
yeah, but we say that as people who are influencers, like for not wanting to put a term to it. We are both influencers in our own spaces on there.
We influence people.
We influence people on a social platform. I just wish there was a more linear connection between someone sees something and they stop what they're doing and they do something. Because I think right now, and we talked about this last night, there's just such a false sense of action from social media. Yeah. It's like you feel like you're doing something, but you're not actually doing anything. You're just scrolling. You're not taking anything on board. Like you see all these cool workout videos and you're like, inspiration, all right. But then you just keep going. And you're like, well, what is this? It should be like, I don't know. It's like you see it and then immediately like, ooh, shut the phone. Let's go do it. I don't know. There's a lot I don't know. I repeat that term to myself a lot these days. I don't know.
Okay, so I'm going to keep going on your story. Okay, so we're like adding a bunch of random things into your timeline. Okay, so you meet your wife. What year did you meet Taz? Because she was also a super OG CrossFit Games competitor.
She won the
2009?
Australia, New Zealand regional in 2009.
She's cooler than you.
Very much so.
And
cooler than me, smarter, better looking.
Better looking for sure.
The fact that I'm in front of the camera and I'm the one who's like people are trying to listen to blows my mind. Like when it comes to my wife, she's
better than you in every way.
Every single way. Like, well, 100%. Like she just doesn't like doing this stuff. And so I had to do it. I had to be the one in front of stuff. When we ran our company, when everything else, like it's so funny. Like I know my worth. Like I know I've become good at what I did, and I'm a great coach, and I know that I'm one of the best in the world at presenting lectures and understanding CrossFit. And I'm not saying that out of arrogance. It's just the reality of 20 years.
I mean, I would hope so at this point,
right?
If not,
then I've blown it, right?
Yeah.
But when I say that, like the number of times that I'll meet someone that Taz and I used to coach, and they'll be like, "How's Taz?" And I'll be like, "Great." And they'll be like, "She was my favorite."
She's so much better than
every time.
How did she marry you?
Every time. It's like how great she is. And I'm like, thanks. I'm stoked on it. Like I love the fact that that's my wife, but the fact that she doesn't
better than it. They were like, oh, you guys are still together? Really?
There was this time. I swear this is a real conversation we were having. You know, there's like you rate yourself on a 0 to 10 scale. Like I'm a 7 or I'm a 5.
Like,
blah, blah.
Like as a catch?
As a catch.
Okay.
Yeah. I swear we had this conversation. She denies it, but I rated us about even, and she's like, "I'm way above you." Like,
see,
and everyone would
confidence.
Everyone, it was wonderful. Like it was so great because I'm like, well, you chose me then, so you know, and I'm secure enough to where that didn't bother me. But it was, I swear that conversation happened. She denies it to this day. I think she was like, no, I'm like an 8 and you're like a 5. I'm like, oh.
She's like, really? That's how you see yourself?
Yeah, that was
That's interesting to me. That's interesting.
And I'm like, I love you, honey. I love the fact that you stuck with me now. Here's my ring.
Okay, so she competed. You met her in 2009 when she came for the games,
So she,
right?
yes. So I was working for CrossFit Media, and she had a news piece done on her by the main New Zealand CrossFit station. She had CrossFit New Zealand.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole country. That was what it was called, CrossFit New Zealand. That was when you could have a big name like that. But the main news station did a piece on her when she won the Australia-New Zealand regional.
Okay.
And that news story was it was very pro CrossFit and positive.
Okay.
And it was the first one of the time that was like, not CrossFit's going to kill you, which is like every other news piece at the time. I was working in media. They sent me that. I saw this and I was like, hey, I reached out to her. I was like, can I post this? Do you mind if we post this on the main CrossFit site? And this is over Facebook. And
I was going to say, like, because there wasn't that, yeah.
No, it was like Facebook Messenger, like not even Messenger. It was like Facebook Messages. Said that to her, and she's like, yeah, no problem, that's cool. And then her business partner was like, that's Pat Barber. He lives in Santa Cruz. You should ask if you could train at his gym while you're training for the games out there, because the games were at Romus. And she messaged me, and she was like, can I train your gym? I was like, yeah, sure, fine, that's whatever. And she came out.
And she was just so hot.
That is not at all actually what it was. You heard the story, right?
I'm sure I have. I don't remember it.
So I had a name in the CrossFit community, and CrossFit women on average are very fit, quite attractive, and quite capable. And I think those are all unique traits that were in a surplus in the CrossFit space. So I was surrounded by beautiful, capable, fit women all the time. And
you become immune to it. I've had this conversation. Like even our group that we used to work out with.
Yes.
Like, okay, yeah, Neil Maddox, get out of my way. He like, you know?
Yeah.
And he's like, it's like such a beautiful human, but you're just like, it's just
whatever.
Neil. And
it's just Neil. You can't count double unders, but it's fine. Yeah.
Or like you
doesn't
know,
hurt.
but you do become like almost immune. There has to be something, because I've talked about that in Media Julian, like because he's like so attractive that you're like, but that's not what it was, because I was so used to it at that point. Okay, continue.
So it was the same thing, as I was so used to it, and I was in a relationship. I had a like 3.5-year relationship I was in. She didn't stand out to me physiologically. It was like I was like, yeah, cool, another beautiful, strong, capable woman. And she's kind of like the type of person who's like, hey, like there's no like, oh hi, da da da. It's just like,
yeah,
hey, how you doing? All right, yep, we'll go do this. And like, so I remember we trained. She's like, oh, you're training for the games? I was like, yeah. And so we trained together. And the first workout we did was an overhead squat L-sit pull-up workout together. It was like a 15-12-9 overhead squat L-sit pull-up.
How would that workout be for you now?
She beat me in it then.
Oh.
She beat me in an L-sit pull-up overhead squat workout. And I was like, what? Like, I just got beat by a woman in a strict pull-up workout. What the heck was that? That was weird. And that was the first thing, like,
how dare you?
Still, I was very fit. I was very fit and good at pulling, and I had never reached that, So I was like, that was interesting. That was cool though. So romance was off the table with my wife. And I'm a pretty easygoing man. And for a relationship to work for me, if intimacy was good, then I would be with a person for years, 2, 3, 4 years, because I'm very simple in that regard. And when I met Taz, like that was off the table. Like that I was in a relationship, but we were just hanging out, and we hung out for like 2 weeks, just chilling, like no funny business, stuff like that. And I realized what a relationship with a woman could be like minus sex, essentially. And I was like, whoa, this is way different. Like, this is really cool. And I really fell in love with who she was. And so we decided to, when she left, went back to New Zealand, because we competed in the 2009 games. I went to my partner at the time and I was like, hey, this isn't bad, but it could be better.
Yeah.
I know it could. And I probably didn't say it as elegantly, and I'd probably gaslit her and made her think that like I was wrong for her and stuff like that. That was my way of coping with that at the time. But we split up, and Taz was like, "I'm gonna come visit you," and I was like, "Cool, you come visit me from New Zealand." And she's older than me, so there was like that kind of wow, older, mature women, doing the thing. So she came out, and we were meeting on Skype. We were like we were like having our conversations on Skype, and then she came and visited, and I was literally a kid. I was like 23 years old, and no idea what she saw in me. But
Still trying to figure it out.
I get it now, actually.
Okay, I'm just kidding.
I get it more now, but I don't know how she saw this in me. I didn't see this in me, and I didn't feel. And when I say this, again, I might sound cocky on this interview, but like I feel like I'm a capable man, and I feel like I'm a lot to offer to a relationship now. I didn't then. I don't understand what made it someone of her caliber be like, I'm willing to take a chance.
I can understand it completely because that's like there's a lot of parallels. There's a lot of things that are not parallel, so I don't want you to hear that I feel like your relationship is the same as ours at all. But like I there's a lot of parallels in that, like when I met Julian, I saw who he is now. I did not understand the pathway that it was going to take for him to get there.
You didn't see that pathway?
No.
Really?
I didn't understand the like rigmarole, and I don't mean like work on my part, but like I didn't see like, but I saw who he is, and actually, and I would be interested to hear what Taz would say about this. I was confused that nobody else could see because he was treated very much one way by everyone around him, and he accepted that too. Like he accepted the way that people, put him in this like Rico Suave role, and he went and played it, and played up to it. He accepted the like, I'm the dude that's good at fitness, but I'm not really interested in anything. Like he took that on, and he like played it to them. But I saw, and kind of similar situation, because Julian had a girlfriend when we first met. And when we went and had a meal together, it was solely because I was training at CrossFit Training Yard with Becca, because I was in town for a seminar, but traffic got all messed up. And so he was there just working out. And I was like, hey, is there anywhere around here that there's like good food? Because it's impossible to drive right now in LA, the whole deal.
I hate it.
And so we were eating, and it wasn't a date. It wasn't like, that's not what was on my mind at all. And so we were just talking, and I was like, oh, this guy's like way more interesting than most of the games athletes. I expected it to go the same, like, oh, talking about, hey, did you, like, what were the regionals like for you, and blah, 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 and It wasn't that. Like, he was talking about how he loves to bake and like all this stuff. And so, yes, similarly, like I saw who he is now. And I think that's where, I don't know, like people will say, what do you think about this? People will say like, don't fall in love with someone's potential because like, then you're, and I get that statement. And I feel like I don't know how to differentiate what I'm saying and what you're saying, like Taz saw in you versus like, don't fall in love with someone's potential. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think that it depends on, at a core level, are they a human being that has a similar value structure to you? Mm-hmm. So if they have potential and they have a similar value structure to you, you can work towards that potential. If their value structure is different and you're thinking you're going to change the value structure and you see potential outside that, I think you're screwed. I think there's no like blanket statement you could make around
how to differentiate, decipher that.
Totally.
Yeah.
But
especially upon meeting someone
new. But I also think that has to do with your own being. Like, are you able to differentiate who someone is versus how they're acting? Mm-hmm. And if you're in a more,
I guess essentially in like a non-romantic way, it's kind of what you were saying when you met me at the seminar, where you're like, I see how everybody's perceiving this person, but that's not accurate.
Right.
And that's like in a non-romantic, like I just see there's the like way that everybody else is viewing this person and the way that I see what's actually going on here. I think that it's a similar thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so too. Mm-hmm. And as long as like, that's an interesting one though, because there was a fragility around that. Mm-hmm. Whereas, and I think that might even be true for Julian, mm-hmm. like where there was a fragility, like there's an inability to project vulnerability or weakness. and you saw that that was there, but you're like, oh, maybe this will come out somehow. Now, I don't think you wanted it to come out the way it did or how it happened.
And I guess
but
that's often how those things go, but
it is, right? And so for Taz and I, it didn't have to be quite the same explosion, but for us, it was kids that had to make that change happen. So like, I was deeply in love with her, but there was still so much of my own being that I was wrapped up in. I had to be brought to my knees through children. Like, hey, you're not important anymore. You're not the most important thing in the world. Get your head.
You can't control everything.
Right. Get your head out of your butt.
Like actually this like little 1-year-old is way more like you can't control like this small little tiny thing. You can't like fix everything for them and you can't control everything and you can't control if they get hurt or if they get sick or.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think what allows someone to come through that is like a foundation of, well, personally, I think it's a foundation of love. So I think if you have at least one parent who truly unequivocally loved you and you knew that and that, you can always come out from those situations. If you never had a single parent and you knew whether they loved you or not, there's always going to be turmoil, which I think is one of the biggest arguments for a seeking divinity. So like looking for a higher father to validate you, so to speak. I'm not religious. I know you are, and I know Julian is, but I do think that that's one of the biggest places faith can put a role in someone's life of like, if you truly believe and you go like, well, look, I don't have that fatherly acceptance. I need that because we all need that. That is what can pull people out of their own BS.
And everybody has it.
Everybody has BS. Yeah. And we have to hit the fan at some point in time. And some people's BS is deeper and darker and others is a little bit lighter, but it's all BS. It's all there. Yeah. I don't know how this is a fitness podcast, but yeah, I'm glad that we're
all tied together. Okay. So you guys get married.
In 2009, I meet Kaz. 2010, I moved to New Zealand. I'm in New Zealand for...
I forgot that you went to New Zealand first.
I lived in New Zealand for 2010, 2011. Come back in 2012 to open up NorCal CrossFit for Jason.
Yep, and then shortly, that's when I started training there. That's
when you started training there, and I because you were on staff and we were doing meetings and stuff. And you're like, I think I'm gonna like move and start training here. I'm like, cool, sounds fun. And we were actually in charge of doing work. You just kind of played the whole time. Pretended to work.
I worked every weekend. Okay.
Yeah.
And I was on the media team. Yuri and I were working really.
Oh yeah, super hard. Yeah, they didn't do anything for the far. But you were great to have around, and then you were trying to do competition stuff, and I was running businesses and actually making stuff work.
Workout. I was doing seminars, 300 seminars, 47 seminars in 2010.
That wasn't for NorCal.
No. I wasn't contributing to NorCal other than like being cool and just hanging out.
Yeah.
I was contributing to CrossFit though.
Correct. You were working. But not there.
I was a distraction.
You were distracting
gym
constantly.
Yes.
The number of times I had to come in and be like, hey.
Can you guys be quiet?
Be quiet.
This music is inappropriate.
Yeah.
And
I use you guys.
Kind of class over here.
I use you guys as the example all the time when people are like, so how do you run a competitor? Like, how do you manage competitors?
You tell them to go outside.
Yeah. I'm like, you take all competitors. What's up, buddy? I say, you take all competitors and you shove them in the corner and you tell them they are second nature citizens. And they don't belong and they need to shut up because your members who are actually paying are there. They're like, you do that? I'm like, yeah, because they are awesome and you want to support them, but you need to make sure that you support the people who actually matter first, which is your members. Anyway, and I was like, like Miranda, Garrett Fisher, Jason Kalipa, Neil Maddox. I just told them to shut up in the corner. Like that was a thing. Like, oh, okay, yeah. But yeah, so that was 2012, and we ran NorCal from 2012 to 2015. Had multiple babies, competed in the games.
You have four sons.
4 sons, competed in the games in 2011, 2012. My appendix burst. 2013, I missed qualifying by 1 point. Marcus Philly beat me, that sandbagger. And then 2014, we went team, and my wife, and Jen, and Alex, and Elliot, and Nick. We talked Jason into it. That wasn't that hard. Jason is like for all the smack I'll talk about him as a man, he's a really good team competitor because you can just say, Jason, do this. Jason, do this. So people don't know this, but I was in control of Jason during our games, and they may not have even known that. But I just told Jason what to do, and he would do it, and it made.
We had to have a therapist.
Yeah, we had
on our team.
Yeah, we're not a therapist. What was he? He was a sports psychologist.
Yeah, but we had to have like meetings of like, because there was just so many personalities
For sure.
in that group.
Totally.
And we all like genuinely like were friends.
Yeah.
And had known each other for so long that there was just like a lot of dynamics happening there.
For sure. And there's a lot of emotions, and there was a lot of things going down, but there's also a sense of like just making it happen. Like there was so much excess capacity on that team. Like it was, and the teams at the time were managing the weak link. That's what the team competition was about. Like, Rich Froning on a team never is trying that hard.
No.
I never had to try very hard on our team stuff. Jason never had to try very hard. It was a matter of like just managing fatigue across a gym, across a group of people, and relationships. And some synchro stuff. And we had good standards, and we had good coaches, and we had a great team. It was fun.
Yeah. So that's okay. So, and then cut to, so that's like 2015. We're still 10 years after that. So, okay. So for the last 10 years, what have you been up to?
So since 2015, in 2015, I left NorCal. I had a difference of opinion of what was important when it came to business.
I've said that like us not winning was very important for each one of us in our own personal growth. Like I feel like, and this is what my take is. So I'm interested to hear if yours is completely different. I'm like, if we would have won, we would have wanted to go win again. And so, because it was right after that Ava got sick and I moved away, which is like where I met Julian and like, this whole thing all started. I certainly would not have moved if we would have won, because it would have been like, oh, we got to do it again, like, and so I wonder what your take is on that. Because for me personally, like how I went about it and like how I just kind of like bounced, none of that was healthy, but it did force me to move on from competing, kind of.
Right. I had accomplished everything I wanted to in CrossFit.
And that's kind of where I was too. I was like, why are you doing this still? Like, what are you doing?
Right. Well, but I would have been done either way.
Okay.
So
you don't think you would have? Okay.
I was done. So like I was done before that year. I came back to do that year. So he convinced me to compete.
Okay.
So like,
remember that.
Yeah. So I had been like, I'm done. So after 2014, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to put this time into training.
It was a lot.
Well, for me, it was 15 years of high level competition. And I had kids, and there's so many things that were more important to me. And like, I was at a point where, so CrossFit, part of what makes it fun is all the learning and getting more efficient at movement and blah, blah. Like I had got to a place where nothing was hard for me. No movement was hard. No high level gymnastics was hard. The only way for me to get better was to hurt more. That's it. Like, and I would argue that even Jason, like he could refine his movement. Like,
yeah, you moved really, really well.
I wasn't that gifted engine wise, so I always had to be refining my movement. So the only way for me to get better was my lungs, and that's it. And that would have just been,
and that's just like
just raw grunt crap work, the hour-long rows and the like really hard dark places over and over and over again.
Oh my gosh, she's back.
So I was done, and so 2015. I don't know if we would have won. I don't think that would have changed my actions afterwards. I guess looking back on it, I could have used the money, even though it was only gonna be like,
I don't remember how much it was.
It was cheap. It was like, I was gonna be like $5,000, but an extra $5,000 at the time would have been really cool, like, so yeah, I don't really know. I don't know I've never really thought about like, if we won, what would that have done? I think our documentary would have been really cool. I think I think I would have had an easier time leveraging that into some social followings, which I never really had or got because I didn't like social and didn't spend much time there. So it was a year where there was potential for that, and I think you and Jason both took that and ran with it and went like, stayed on social and were bigger, and you already had bigger names at the time anyway. But I don't think that would have changed much for me.
Okay, so then what was your story after that then to catch people up on like from 2015, that's like we all stopped competing to?
Yeah, I retired and I left NorCal because I just differed in what the purpose of business is. And I started a company called Warm Up and Workout, which was the first affiliate programming company.
You and Taz did that together?
We did that together, and we launched it, and it was really great.
You had it for a long time. How many years?
2015 to 2021.
Yeah, it was long.
22. And we just didn't have the star power behind it. We had a great program, and we just never had enough. Like, I didn't understand media at the time. I didn't know how to market. I didn't even know what to say or how to film.
Well, it's just hard because like usually someone who's like super passionate as a coach is going to be the person that's like, I don't want to say not interested or good at that stuff, but it's a different mindset than like, I'm just a really great coach that likes to create great programming or likes to teach people. It's different. I don't know.
Well, but I didn't have anyone to film or edit, right? So it'd be like I would have to film myself, edit myself, create the story, post the thing.
We were doing that at first too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you had some semblance of social media, so there was like when you posted, there'd be some success.
Yeah, because I had a big following from competing.
You did. So so when you said something, people would listen. And like for when I would say stuff, it was like no one would listen. And I didn't know what that game was about. So it was more defeating than it was anything else. I didn't have the right mindset around it. So, we ran our company and we did great, and we built it up to a couple hundred gyms. And, when you do the math on that, we were affecting like, tens of thousands of people, which was really cool. Like, cause all the program that we had, and we were very true to the CrossFit method, one workout a day, and like educating coaches. And I got to live a really cool life. So I got to travel around the world. We did big world trips, and we got to live in different places and kind of live the life that we wanted to live. And I could spend time raising my boys and doing all that. And so, and 2021, obviously we were middle of COVID, gyms were shutting down and stuff wasn't going quite as well. And I didn't know what to do to market and get myself seen more. And the market was super saturated with affiliate programs and all that stuff. And I got approached by Adam or RPM, who I had a longtime sponsor. And they're like, hey, we have this vision for Peloton, but it's CrossFit. And I was like, well, the only way that works is if you dump millions into it. Like, yeah, I mean, like street parking has like the home gym stuff pretty cornered, but they don't do like a follow along daily workout. And in order for that to work, you have to have a really good coach who's going to like make it fun and actually coach. And then they were like, but we can sell the gear and we can do that. And they had this like, we shot. Did you ever hear that story?
Because we had a relationship with RPM as well from back when we were all at NorCal.
Yeah.
And I mean, they showed us like their gear that they were going to make and everything. And it was all like, they do such a good job with their aesthetic and everything. Yeah. So we knew those guys as well when they were like, probably obviously not as much information coming to us as because you're really close to them, but were sharing some of that stuff with us.
Well, but their vision was really cool. And they pitched it to me, and I was like, the only way this works is if you literally have millions in marketing. Like, you need this to be seen because this space is so noisy. Like, unless you already have a following, you already have an icon, like it's impossible. And they're like, yeah, no problem. We'll figure it out. We filmed this. Had no idea how it would work. So we filmed this. We spent, I think it was 2 days. I think it was $100,000. They filmed this demo. So they got an investment, like, hey, we got an investment to do a demo. Let's try this. So these guys came in and they shot this demo, and I went and coached it at the train station in Santa Cruz, Roaring Camp Redwoods. And it was awesome. We filmed, I think, 2 workouts across 3 days. So a nightmare, like 15 cameras set up. You had the whole thing. It was wild. It was really cool. And I was like, I filmed it and I was like, that was fun. I'm never going to hear from them again. It's never going to be a thing. So about 3 months later, they reached out and like, dude, we got investors.
Wow.
We're doing this. I was like, the gear and everything? And they're like, yeah, gear and everything. We're doing it. They're like, we want to buy one workout from you so you can just focus on this full time. Taz will program for it and you'll be the head coach. And I was like, cool. And I was like, as long as I get to say, this is always going to be second best to training at a CrossFit affiliate.
Totally.
I think it is. And as long as we can be authentic and genuine with how all this works, we could make this work. And so we worked our butts off and filmed like 6 months worth of workouts. We had a full studio.
I've seen a bunch of them.
Built all the gear. Like there's still, they just recycle that 6 months over and over again with my face on it, the whole thing. And I get no royalties or no nothing from it. But they basically got 2 rounds of $3 million in funding. One was the first investment, and then the second was to be basically for marketing. And it was, the first investment was to build the gear, get the stuff filmed, build the app, do the whole thing. And then that second one was to push it out. They did that first one. Halfway through, Peloton crapped the bed. The investors, even though they'd signed the contracts for it, didn't come through on that second round of $3 million. And they had no marketing budget. So,
well, because like even like knowing like how much it's cost like for our app and stuff, like $3 million is not a lot.
I know, but like, and
especially because they had gear and everything.
They had $1 million in gear, like all source, all the stuff.
All that stuff costs, like that is not.
I know, but he checked this out. It was all set. They did it all with $3 million, and it was,
and it looked good, yeah.
And it was amazing with $3 million. But they needed the marketing budget because it in order for that to go anywhere, I was like, which one? Who's getting me on Oprah?
Right.
And they were like, haha. I'm like, no, I'm serious. Like, because in order for this to work, we need to be in spaces where I can speak to an audience and say, hey, this is what this is about.
Yeah.
Because I can do that. Like, that's what I'm good at.
Yeah.
And they just didn't get it. And so, like, they just came to me after a few months of trying. They're like trying to organically underground market through their equipment company to get like a thing. It's just like 2 different audiences.
Totally.
And, they get like 600 members or something like that. And then they're like, we can't afford your salary. I'm like, so then I have no job.
And you have no business.
And I have no business. Because I had sold my business to them. So that it's like, what do I do? I went and got my EMT license and I started applying to be a firefighter. And so I was applying to be a firefighter. And then I got hired. I went through that and I was doing the applications and I got picked up by Best Hour of their day. They were like, we have this vision.
Which is like a coach's development program. You got a podcast. Like
they have a podcast. They do coaching development. I was very uniquely suited.
And you've been working for CrossFit this whole time. To this day.
To this day. I teach level 1s, level 2s. And they were like, we have this vision for a coaching development app. And I'm like, that's what I do. Like, I'm very good at that. And they're like, well, we need someone who can be on camera. I'm like, that's what I do. That's what I'm good at. And so I was really very uniquely suited to it. And they brought me on board to create something called The Knowledge, where I took what's called a white label VOD service. It's a video on demand service like YouTube, and built that up to be this on demand video delivery service where it was a video a day of coaching development content.
Wow.
I filmed, like, I built that from the ground up.
Wow.
Like, all me and like a little small team.
Yeah.
And fully my vision, that whole thing. Because I had the vision to do something similar, but didn't have the funds to do it. And they're like, we had this vision. I was like, I had a similar vision. Let's do it.
Wow.
So we were doing that for 2 years, and built it up. And I think they had a vision of it being bigger. I knew it was going to be not the biggest thing because there's only so many coaches.
And we know how many of coach, like if you take the entire pie of coaches in the world, how many of them are actually engaged and like interested in like learning
better.
It's small. It's small. It's small. Unfortunately.
Totally. But
who are going to actually like engage with that stuff.
But again, it was like,
not just check the box.
We had like 600 coaches doing this.
That's awesome.
And it was rad. And like,
but you knew you were like, not every coach will want this because most of them are lazy.
Totally. And I have nothing bad to say about Best Hour. I think they offer amazing stuff for gyms and whatnot, but like, it just wasn't growing the way they wanted it to. And that wasn't my responsibility. My responsibility is to make it work. I actually came on board with them. I was like, I don't want to do marketing. Because I had this burnout from warm-up and workout where I thought I didn't know it. These days I know it. I kind of like it. But then I was like, I just really don't want to do this. And
isn't it interesting how you almost have to take a step back from something before you're like, okay,
I'm good at this now.
I can go back in. Send me back in.
Yeah, and I like it. And I want to do it. And because you understand the game. Once you take some time away from it being necessary, that you go back and you're like, oh, I get it now. So, look, a few months ago, and then I was working for them up until a few months ago. And then a few months ago, they just called me up and they're like, we're going to go a different direction with this. And they just let me go, like out of the blue. And I was like, oh, okay. So I have nothing bad to say about Best Hour. How the separation happened at the end, I'm disappointed in how they handled it. But that's just a reality of business for them.
Totally.
So now I find myself heading down the Father's Guild stuff. That was something that I built.
Yeah. Okay. So as we because I feel like we could talk for like 5 hours longer.
We probably could.
It's 2025. You have 4 sons. How old are they?
My sons are 12, 9, 6, and 2.5.
12, 9, 6, 2.5. And they're all at home. Taz is homeschooling them.
Yeah.
and you guys live on 5 acres.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, so explain like what your day-to-day life is now and what Father's Guild is and how like what your, I don't like when people say, what's your belief in fitness? And I'm like, well, fitness is work capacity. It's like, there's a definition. It's not what my belief is. It's just what it is.
Well, it actually,
but like, so how is it applied to, like, where are you at with your personal fitness now? Like, and so like a little bit of like Pat 2025 is, I guess, what I'm looking for here.
Sure. So the Father's Guild is something that I started because I love fatherhood and I get a lot of joy from fatherhood. And I see a lot of fathers who don't. Mm-hmm. And I like to have conversations. Like we said, I like people to challenge my ideas. Mm-hmm. And so I started something and did basically a forward-facing social media that was called the Father's Guild. And it was just my thoughts on fatherhood with the idea of like me just putting my ideas out there. I get a lot of joy from it. Why don't other people get joy from fatherhood? Let's have a conversation. And I was just coming off of 2 years of being pretty disenfranchised with social. So I didn't want to spend any time on social. But I was like, I can either keep complaining or I can put stuff I care about out. Mm-hmm. And I started doing that. And I just stayed very narrow to the vein of talking about fatherhood and my experiences with fatherhood. And then I had a small grouping of videos. And then one of them went really viral. And because all of my content was in the exact same vein, that one video that went super viral, all of a sudden I like overnight woke up with like 35,000 followers from like an account that had 300. And it was like, what just happened? And I was like looking at it, and it was a video of me talking about doing it for myself, no yelling.
Like a no yelling, yeah. Like, yeah. So like for like a month of
no yelling. Yeah, I was gonna not yell for a month, and if I did yell, I'd have to pay my kid $5 in the moment. And it was just because.
Did your kids try to get you to yell, knowing that you'd have to pay $5?
My third son did that.
I feel like I've thought of stuff like that, and I'm like, if I tell them that I'm gonna have to give them something if I mess up, they're gonna try to push my buttons to do it.
They would, and then you very quickly, because you're the parent, go, it doesn't work that way. Yeah. And they go, oh, okay. but that's what they did. And there's a lot of people's comments that's like, well, they're just going to try and do them. I'm like, my kids are more motivated by me not yelling than me giving them money.
Okay.
Like if your kids are motivated by money in that way, I think you screwed up.
Totally.
But that's just my personal thing on it.
Yeah, money or snacks or TV time, whatever it is, Then you being kind to them, then you're obviously too far in that direction anyway. And you should pull your head out of your ass and stop yelling. Okay.
But that's my personal thing, and we can have different opinions, guys. But yeah, I started that went super viral, and it just ended up with like this big following. And then I kept producing content in the fatherhood vein, and more videos would go viral. And
man, I can't. The only thing that I can think of that's more, besides like going like politics and religion, because that's like a whole separate. The only thing that I can think of that's more like potentially getting people to take things personally than fitness and nutrition is parenting.
Yeah, well, for sure. And I think that nothing I do is just for giggles. Like I'm never like, whatever.
But like you gotta like be ready to take that on and take on people's like stuff that is like completely out of left field and not at all what I was saying.
Well, what's great though is I just ask questions. Okay. So like when someone throws something out of left field, I'm like, do you really think that? If so, like, can you walk me through how you got to that process? Nobody answers. Mm-hmm. Because like when you don't take it personally, and because like they'll attack me personally.
Do you get like DMs of like people attacking you?
No, never DMs. Never DM.
I had to turn my DMs off, not because people would attack me, but just because I felt like I was compelled to respond to everyone. So I turned them off.
So I responded to almost every DM, because every DM I've had is positive. But
people want to do it in the public forum so that they get people to back them up.
To validate them. Yes. You never do it. Like literally entire time I've had the Father's Guild, not a single negative DM.
I would say that's accurate. I would say my issue more with the DMs is more that like once I started being friends with someone, I felt like I had to always answer. And then I felt a guilt if I didn't get back to someone or something. And so,
I don't carry guilt.
I carry it well.
I don't.
You're right, though. People, it's no different than, and I think so many of these things we learn at the seminars of like, the joke is like someone who raises their hand to ask a question, but it's really a statement. Yeah. And you're like, oh, you just needed people to listen to how smart you are. Or, oh, you just needed to like, okay. So that happens in the comment sections.
All the time. But it is a very controversial place, and I don't think it needs to be. I think an open conversation around fatherhood or even parenting, like if someone's doing something, they should be doing it for a reason. And if they can't back up the reason that they're doing it, then they need to think deeper and find a reason. And I don't care what you do, but have a reason for it. Even if your reason is wrong to me, you at least have a reason. And I think 90% of fathers and mothers too have no idea why they're doing it. They're just doing it as like, this is what I did, or it worked for this moment. I'm like, did you think beyond that moment?
Yeah, like now how's that going to work out for you
Totally.
2 years from now?
Yeah.
2 weeks from now, whatever.
Exactly. Is this the best decision long term, or is this the best decision just for right now to
Yeah.
solve this? So I think that conversation is an important one. I like having it, and I started the Fathers Guild, and it grew, and it's continued to grow. It's like nearly 200,000 people are following it, which is wild for me.
That's cool.
I had never had success in this space.
Well, I think it's like such an important thing to talk about. It is very, and again, like most people, even people who do have strong opinions or beliefs around it are like, I do feel a certain way and I have something to say, but I don't want to deal with the potential backlash from it. I'm not even going to go there.
Right. And I don't mind going there.
Yeah, that's
just
cool.
because I don't take it personally.
Mm-hmm.
And I won't respond to everything. I'll just like, okay,
Sometimes you just got to let it
go.
Yeah.
So to answer your last question is like, how do I view fitness? I think fitness, like you said, you joked about the definition, because we have a definition in CrossFit, which is work capacity across broad time and modal domains. But when you unpack that further, I think it actually describes it quite well. So work capacity is the ability to output power across like your capacity to work across broad time, any time frame, and modal domains in any activity. So can you output power across any time frame and any activity? Now, if you make that even simpler, which is my thing, is like, can you do whatever you want, modal domains, at whatever level that you want, work capacity, for however long you want, time domains. So are you able to do whatever you want for however long you want at whatever level that you want? That's fitness.
Can you?
And can you?
I'm asking you, like, do you feel
I
like
can.
Yeah.
So like, that's the thing is like, I can, but in order for me to sustain this.
Yeah, that's okay. So yeah, what do you do?
I need to have a training methodology that makes it so I can sustain this. I need to eat in a certain way that makes it so I don't put on too much weight and come to a place where I can't jump in volleyball. I need to sleep so I'm not overly stressed all the time and don't reduce my cortisol levels throughout the day. I need to spend time away from stressful things like devices, if at all possible. And then I need to train. And I'm not a guy who likes training. I've never liked
It's
training.
so funny. I think that is an interesting thing about you, is you've always kind of hated it.
I hate it. I've always, like, I like competing. And
I'm the complete opposite of that.
Exactly. And we've talked about how fun we are here. So training is something that I bite my nails. I try to avoid every day. If there's a reason for me not to train, I'll not train, which is why I've like sought a program that could fill the space of like, it's something that I can get done, that I know is programmed well, that I know is intelligent in its long-term progression for what it's looking for, which is the ability to live a higher quality life, but is also doable. Like there's so many programs that I've tried and started. Minimum effective dose, straight up. And I think that's why when I see people touting really dumb movements and they're like, this is the kettlebell program, I'm like, cool. Like if you like kettlebells, do kettlebell program. But if you're actually looking for effect, it's not doing that much for you. Like it's better than nothing. It's the same thing, the Peter Attia stuff, where he's like, yeah, zone 2. It's like, sure, zone 2 if you're doing nothing and adding some zone 2, or if you're doing a lot and you've got volume, you need to have zone 2 to temper the total volume that you're doing. But if you're not training too much and you're not training nothing,
something specific,
or training something, or doing nothing,
right?
Zone 2 is yet less useful overall than doing a slightly higher intensity thing 3 days a week. Like
totally,
it's people.
If you're only going to spend 30 minutes 3 days a week, this is the way to do it.
This is the way to do it.
Yeah.
And then if you start to spend more time, then you do things like you add individual strength stuff in there, or you add a zone 2 workout in there.
Totally.
And I think in that order, and it's Chris Hinshaw and I have these arguments too. He's like, aerobic capacity. I'm like, yeah, not at the expense of metabolic capacity.
3 days. Don't want to waste 2 of them on one component of fitness.
Totally. But if you like running, sure, go do it.
And that's better than sitting.
It's way better than sitting. Yes. And it's the same thing. But like we need to do stuff that stresses our system. Like that's the only way that we have adaptation or change. And something that's inherently stressful in a short period of time, like a CrossFit workout, is hands down the best way to pull the levers on staying fit for the long term. Or not reducing in capacity, which is kind of where I'm at, is like, I'm not getting fitter. I'll never, ever be as fit as I was. And I have to accept that. There's so many people who are coming into training for the first time at like 40, 50 years old, who can see peak performance, best they've ever had, by being consistent.
Those days are gone for us.
But those days are gone for us, but they're not gone for everybody on street.
No.
I think that's the interesting part, is like wherever you're at in your journey, this can serve you depending on how often you do it. and how
Well,
long
and
we've
I
done.
can even improve on like certain elements from where I'm at now. Like if I was like, I want to, I've been avoiding this thing, or like even like we're doing like an endurance cycle right now where I'm not going to go back and run the way that we were running with Hinshaw, but I can improve my mile time even at 42 years old from where it is right now
Yeah,
in 12 weeks from now.
absolutely. We
So
can improve where we're at,
Yes.
but we're never going to be what we were.
No.
So because we maximized our biological capacity at such a young age, like when I say maximize, we trained volume and we trained intensity to the extreme degree, and in an unhealthy way. It was so uniquely specified to being dominant at the sport of fitness of CrossFit, that we're never going to be there. But that's 100% okay. Like that's not what. Like I can do nothing for probably another 3 years and still be more capable than most human beings on the planet.
And I've even said that, I think you guys were talking about that in the barn today, like there's seasons, right? So I encourage people, hey, before you have kids, before you get as fit as you possibly can, and then like just hold on to it for as long as you can. And that's actually pretty simple.
100%. And even with kids, there's seasons. There's seasons where they're doing worse and you're doing worse. That's just reality.
And you're like literally like checking the box 3 days a week.
Yep. And that's what the fitness buffer does. That's what capacity buffers do. That's why they're there. It's because we have room to fall. Whereas aesthetic buffers don't do shit.
Right.
Like they don't do anything for your well-being. And there are ways to be aesthetically changed that also change your physiology. But training for form doesn't do that. You could and so that's why we do the training. That's why I do the training that I do. That's why
So you don't want to create a bodybuilding program for us? It's like it's from beginning to end. That's what this podcast has been about. I was going to ask you if you wanted to create the bodybuilding program, but I guess I'll look for someone else.
How much will you pay me? Because I'll sell my soul. No, I won't. That's not what I'll do. But that's it. That's what training is.
All right. Well, I wish we had more time, but
we can do it another time.
A flight and all that stuff. But yeah, it was not on my bingo card to have you come hang out at our house this year, but it's been like really cool reconnecting. I think it is fun and interesting that it's like 10 years after.
Yeah, it is.
That whole.
It is. Yeah.
That lifetime ago.
That happened.
And yeah, thanks for coming, and we'll see more of you.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah. If we can convince you to come work out again.
Yeah, it'll happen. Oh, I'm sore already.